Did you know that you are the average of the 5 people that you spend the most time with? So, my advice to you is don't spend much time with low vibe people. Hello, and welcome to episode 61 of the show. My name is Darren Krakowiak. I equip commercial real estate professionals with proven client attraction and retention systems so they can save time, earn more, and be top performers in their market. It is wonderful to have your company for another episode. Thank you so much for being there. Today's episode is brought to you by Released, a cloud-based commercial property management platform which centralizes portfolio data, automates workflows, and provides real-time reporting for landlords and property managers. Before we do get into today's topic, I would like to extend an invite for you to join the Path to Success in Commercial Real Estate. It's a new live and free virtual keynote that I'll be delivering in just a couple of weeks from now, and you can secure your free ticket by going to cresuccess.co/path. If you attend this event, I'm going to help you understand where you are on the path to success. I'll give you some tools that will help you level up in the relevant skills that you should be mastering in order to advance to the next stage. And I'll also give you a framework that will help you understand when you've arrived at your destination. To join that live and free virtual keynote, go to cresuccess.co/path. Now, as I mentioned at the top of the show, you do reflect the 5 people that you spend the most time with. You're an average of them. That's a quote from Jim Rohn, who's a motivational speaker. And it's one that I've used a lot as a leader in commercial real estate, and also since launching CRE Success, to help people understand the impact that other people can have on their performance, but also because having a positive attitude and positive thinking is such a big influence on one's ability to achieve great results in this industry and also in life in general. And I believe that given that you do reflect the 5 people who you spend the most time with, that it's incumbent on us to spend as little time as possible with low vibe people. So what is a low vibe person? And I want to list some attributes now, and I don't want this to come across as me complaining about low vibe people. I'm just listing these attributes to help you understand and identify if you might have some of these people in your life and maybe not realize it. So low vibe people are negative. They're pessimists. They like to complain. They like to put others down rather than lift other people up. They're often selfish. They're not likely to help other people. They love drama. They're not especially good communicators. In fact, they love to keep secrets. Sometimes they have a scarcity mindset, a victim mentality, and they often don't believe in the potential of positive change and also the potential of learning and growth. They're often stuck in the past and not usually focused on the future. So that's a litany of, you could almost call them grievances that one might have with low vibe people. But what I want to put to you is, first of all, what I know about low vibe people is that it's not their fault necessarily that that's where they're at. Often their behaviors are reinforced by the people who are around them. Sometimes in an organizational context, it can be because of poor leadership. Sometimes they're facing difficulties in their life, which make it difficult for them to break free from that low vibe state that they're in. And maybe they just don't know any better as well. So I would recommend that you try and see why it is that they're like that. Rather than to get angry at them or to dislike them or to resent them, try and empathize with their circumstances, because it's probably not by choice that they're like that. If you had a choice to be low vibe, unhappy, negative, or to be high vibe, positive, happy, I know most people would probably choose to be positive, happy, high vibe, unless there's something seriously wrong in their life. Otherwise, they're going to be choosing, to be that happy person. Now, One thing to be aware of is that even though it's not a choice for people who are low vibe often to be like that, often some of these people really want to drag you down to be unhappy like they are. And if they can't convert you, then sometimes circumstances can lead to nasty behavior. Whether it's in a workplace context, it can start to be a toxic workplace environment that's, you can see things like bullying, malicious gossip, these sorts of things going on. So if you want to succeed in commercial real estate, but these things are going on around you, and you've made the conscious decision that you're not going to let others drag you down, then you also need to make the decision to get away from these people as often as you can and to not be impacted by their negativity. That is, to disassociate yourself from their actions and kind of like to be water off a duck's back. I think that expression was really used to describe not being negatively impacted by low vibe people. Some people who are really strong-willed, I've observed people very strong-willed who have been in these environments and it gets them down. So I just want you to be aware that even if you're relentlessly positive, if you're very strong-willed, that a toxic environment or low vibe people can have an impact on you and your ability to reach peak performance. So it's really important that you put a lot of intention behind disassociating yourself from negative people and not being drawn into, and also not feeding the toxicity. And the toxicity can be fed through your own reactions. And being relentlessly positive and not feeding into those reactions is certainly one thing that you can do. Another thing to do, which can be difficult, is to really try and find the good in low vibe negative people and to focus on the elements in them that are what is good about them. And don't fall into the trap here to say, well, what I really like about them is when I'm not around them because I really don't like being around them. That's not a positive thing, right? What we really want to do is try and identify something that is actually good and positive about the person and focus on that when we're dealing with them, when we're thinking about them, when we're around them, rather than focus on all of the things that are negative and, low vibe about them. One thing I would advise is not trying to change these people. The only way that I would try to change these people would be through setting a better example. I've entered organizations where I've seen some toxicity, where I've been surrounded by some low vibe people. And I believe that the only way that you will have any hope of changing low vibe people or overcoming or actually changing for the better a toxic culture is if you're the boss and you have the formal authority to make the change. Now, if you're not in that position, rather than trying to change things, my advice would be to focus your energy elsewhere, and that your energy will be better focused on just being positive yourself, and also making sure that not only that these negative people don't get you down, but also that you find the positive influences that will help you thrive in spite of being in that environment. So in larger organizations, just because you're surrounded by a couple of low vibe people, that doesn't mean that the whole organization is rotten. Quite often there are plenty of great people in those organizations. You just might be unlucky to find yourself in a situation where you're dealing with some of them in your day-to-day. Go and align yourself with some people who are high vibe, who are positive, who have great energy. We want to be around people who have a bias towards positivity, towards growth, towards openness, towards transparency. We want to be around like-minded people and surround ourselves with them, because then we can benefit from the rule that I mentioned at the top of the show, which is that you average the 5 people who you spend the most time with. So spend less time with negative, low vibe people. That will make you a less negative person. And if you do have to spend time with these people, just try and limit your exposure to them. Don't buy into their negativity. Don't feed it. Rise above it. So if you're wondering, well, why am I spending, this episode talking about this topic, which isn't usually something I would talk about, it's because positive thinking really matters. And it matters towards your success in commercial real estate. So the tag of the show is to help you save time, earn more, and be a top performer in your market. In order to do those things, we need to be not letting ourselves be dragged down by negativity, and seeking out a community of people who will help draw out the best of you and not the worst of you. Hopefully that makes sense. It is nearly time to wrap up. Before we do, just a reminder, the path to success in commercial real estate is happening in 2 weeks. To reserve your spot, go to cresuccess.co/path. I really hope that you will join me for that. And I'll give you a little sneak peek. Mindset is actually one of the things that we'll be talking about in that session, and how you can have a more positive mindset that opens you up to accepting more positive results in your life. I'll leave that open loop for you to join me for the path to success. For now, thank you so much for being here, and I will speak to you soon. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. If you are watching on YouTube, would love it if you leave a comment. Let me know what you think. Do you agree with my definition of low vibe people? Is it possible to change them? Even if you don't have the authority, is that something that you could possibly bring people around to be more positive? Let me know what you think. You can also like the video if you liked it, and subscribe to this channel. And if you hit the bell, it means that you'll be notified whenever we do go live and bring you these recordings of the podcast episode every single week. Hope that you'll also go back and have a look at those past episodes. I've probably told you to do enough things now, right? So the last thing to do is to say thank you so much for being there, and I will see you for another episode next week.